first of all, we're going to start out by cleaning the skin using the Garnier Micellar water. I do this with all of my clients so I know that the base is clean. And then I'm just going to brush through the brow hairs and grab my Anastasia Beverly Hills brow palette in the shade Chocolate, and I'm just going to start off by defining underneath the brow, filling in the tail, and then filling in any sparse areas in the eyebrow. To define the eyebrow, I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade 5, and I also pull that down on to the eyelid just to use as an eyeshadow base. So once I'm done using my brush, I then go in with my beauty blender and blend that out. I'm going to pick up that burnt orange shade from the Too Faced Peach palette. It's called Summer Yum, and I'm going to run that through her crease area. Now you do see that I get my client to open and look straight ahead. This is just for a guideline. It's for me to see what the eyeshadow looks like when the client's eyes are open. Now I'm going to go in with Rich Brown by Bobbi Brown, and I'm just going to define the crease, really making sure that I blend this in nicely so there's no harsh lines. I'm using a smaller brush to do so. I will list all the brushes that I use in the description down below just because I can't remember them off the top of my head. You can see that I'm taking this color from the inner corner of the eye right out to the outer corner of the eye and just kind of giving a nice flick on the end. This is just going to help us create our cut crease. Taking Indian Wood Paint Pot by MAC, I'm going to use this to carve out our cut crease. You do see that I get my client to open her eyes. This way it just creases and it kind of gives me a guideline of where to take the color. This is a really important step, and you need to make sure that you take it right up above over the crease for hooded eyes because it will transfer if you don't. Now using the Too Faced glitter glue, I'm just going to lay that straight on top of the paint pot. We are going to use some glitter today, and this is going to make sure the glitter does not fall out. So the first glitter we're going to go in with today is by NYX. It's in the shade Old Hollywood, which is a really pretty gold shade. Now you can just use one color, but I decided I wanted to go in with another shade. So I'm using NYX again in the shade Vagas Baby just to brighten up this look. I actually really liked how the two colors looked on top of each other. To create the wing, I'm using my Ingot Gel Liner in the shade 77. I've tried to leave in as much footage as I can in this video, and I've just sped everything up so you guys can see how I actually do it without cutting any bits and pieces out. And then I just went ahead and applied some false lashes. These ones are by Modelrock. Now moving on to the face, we're using the Benefit Porefessional primer, and I'm really just making sure that I work this into her skin, especially in that T-zone area. That's usually the place where a lot of people do get their oiliest. And now just to cover up the discoloration and the redness in some of the spots in her skin, I'm using the Urban Decay concealer in green and just warming that up with my fingers. And then we're going to move on to foundation. I'm using the Studio Fix Fluid by MAC in the shade NC40. I just applied that using a concealer brush and then went in with my beauty blender and just blended out this foundation. It's my favorite way to blend out foundation is with the beauty blender. To conceal and highlight the face, I'm using the same concealer that we used in the start of the video, which was the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade 5. I'm just going to place that underneath her eye area and also down the center of her face using a concealer brush. And then I like to go in with my beauty blender and blend out the concealer. Now the way I like to do it is I'll start off by using the tapered end on my beauty blender and start blending in the concealer to the foundation. But then I like to turn my beauty blender around to the fatter side or flatter side of the blender, as you can see in the video. And I like to blend in like the concealer line to the foundation, if that makes sense, because we did blend out the foundation with the fatter side of the beauty blender. It kind of like blends in the two products together. Now using my favorite setting powder, which is the Laura Mercier translucent powder, I'm just going in with my beauty blender and really pushing that in to the concealer to ensure that it does not move one bit throughout the day. And then what I like to do is go in with a big fluffy brush and just lightly set the rest of the face using the same powder. It does not add any coverage, it's just setting down the foundation. To finish off the eyes, I'm going to use Camel out of that Bobbi Brown palette, and I'm going to smoke out the lower lash line and really just making sure that I blow out this shade, because we're going to swap to a flat definer and blend in rich brown right up the closest to the lash line, just to give that smoky effect. And then I just go ahead and carefully dust off the remaining powder that's sitting on top of the concealer. And then for the waterline, we wanted to open the eyes up, so we use the Ingot Gel Liner in the shade 76, which is a just like a bright white shade. Then to contour the face, I use the NYX Pro Contour Palette. I'm not sure of the shade name that I use, but I will list it down below in the description, along with everything else that I used in order. I just chiseled out her cheekbones, her jawline, her temple, her nose. And then for blush, I use this NARS palette. I'm not sure of the name, but I use the orange shade in it. It's quite an old palette, but I really love the blushes in it. And then I just went ahead and spritzed down the face using Fix Plus by MAC. I love this stuff. It's really an essential in your kit. And then I went ahead and just mascaraed the lashes to finish off the eyes. And then for highlighter, I just went ahead with the Becca BFF palette. This one's the medium palette, because there's like a darker palette as well, but I just placed that on all of the highest points of her face, and I feel like this just kind of brings the look together and makes her nice and glowy and just gives like a whole new dimension to the face. Then to highlight the inner corner of her eyes, I used an eyeshadow by Stila, but I cannot remember the name of it, so I will leave that listed down below. And then I just went ahead and set down her eyebrow hairs using the 24-Hour Brow Settler by Benefit, which is one of my favorite brow products ever. Now to line the lips, we used a lip pencil from MAC in the shade Spice. To finish off the look, the lipstick that we used was Blankety, also by MAC. Then I just set down the face using the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. So this is the completed look. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I'm obsessed with how glowy and bronzy she is. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Bye!